Welcome back to Future Forward. I'm Gabriel.
And I'm Maria, and we have a pretty serious question for you to kick things off today, Gabriel. You want to hit them with it?
Okay, let's just dive right in. What if your main source of income, for most of us that's our job, what if it disappeared tomorrow?
Yeah, like poof, gone. No 2 weeks notice, no severance package, just silence. For most people, that's a truly terrifying thought. The statistics are pretty sobering. Something like 70% of people have only one income stream. One. That means they are one bad day away from a financial crisis.
One single point of failure. It's like trying to fly a plane with only one engine. It might work for a while, but if that engine fails, you have no backup. You're living in a constant state of financial fragility, and the crazy part is, it's been normalized. We're taught that this is just how it is.
Exactly. And we see this assumption all the time that wealthy people just work 100 hours a week and that's the secret. But that's not really it. The real secret is that they don't just work harder, they build systems. Exactly. The 20th century career path was sold to us as the safe option. But the 21st century reality is that this model is now the riskiest path of all. Relying on one employer is putting all your faith in a single entity that at the end of the day will always prioritize its own survival over yours.
Systems. That's the key word for today. They build multiple income streams that work for them, sometimes even while they sleep, and that's what we're talking about today.
We're not just going to talk about why you need them. We're going to give you a literal blueprint, a step-by-step guide on how to build multiple income streams, even if you're starting from scratch with no time and no ideas. So stick around because this episode could genuinely change your financial future.
Okay, so Maria, let's get into the real problem here. Why is the old model of, get a good job, stay there for 40 years, and retire, why is that model so broken now?
Oh, it's not just broken, it's completely outdated. It's like using a flip phone in the age of smartphones. It just doesn't compute with modern reality. The world has changed so dramatically.
Right, so what are the big forces at play? What's changed?
Well, let's just list them off. Number one, inflation. This silent thief erodes your purchasing power every single day. That 3% raise you were happy about, it gets completely wiped out when inflation is at 4 or 5%. You're effectively getting a pay cut. Your grocery bill, your gas, your rent, it all goes up, but your income stays flat. You're running faster on the hamster wheel just to stay in the same place.
Number two, job security is an illusion. It's a relic of a bygone era. We've seen massive, unexpected layoffs from companies that were reporting record profits just a quarter earlier. Tech, media, finance, retail, no sector's immune. Corporate loyalty is unfortunately a one-way street now. You can be a top performer for a decade and still be replaced by a line on a spreadsheet during a restructuring.
That's such a big one. And the third, the elephant in the room, AI disruption. This isn't science fiction anymore. Artificial intelligence is advancing at an exponential rate. It's not just automating repetitive tasks, it's starting to take on creative and analytical roles. Entire industries are going to be reshaped in the next decade. Relying on a single job that could be devalued or automated by AI is an enormous gamble. And that unpredictability is the new normal. The idea of a job for life is gone. The average person today will have over a dozen jobs in their lifetime. So the question isn't if you'll face a job disruption, but when and how prepared you'll be for it.
And beyond the practical, the number side of it, there's a huge emotional pressure that comes with paycheck dependency. You live in this constant low-grade fear. You can't take risks. You can't tell your boss what you really think.
You can't just quit. You feel trapped. It's what we call the income instability trap. You're walking on a tightrope without a safety net. You're stable enough to pay the bills, so you feel like you can't complain, but you're so dependent on that one source that you have zero real freedom. You're one bad day, one difficult boss, or one bad corporate earnings report away from financial disaster.
Exactly. And that is why we have to shift our thinking from finding a single safe job to building a portfolio of income streams. It's the only rational response to the world we live in now.
Okay, so I think we've established the why pretty clearly. It's a necessity. So let's get into the what. When we say income streams, People might just think, I don't know, get a second job, but it's so much more nuanced than that.
Way more nuanced, and this is probably the most important part of the entire episode. If you understand this framework, everything else clicks into place. There are essentially five main types of income streams. Let's break them down.
All right, what's number one?
Number one is active income. This is what most people have. You trade your time and effort directly for money. Your 9 to 5 job, or if you're a freelancer, you're trading hours for dollars. If you don't work, you don't get paid. Simple as that.
Right, the foundation for most people, but it's also the most limited because you only have so many hours in a day. Okay, what's next?
Number two is semi-active income. This is a step up. Think consulting or coaching. You're still active, but you're getting paid for your expertise and results, not just the hours. You might charge $500 for a 1 hour consultation call or package your knowledge into a weekend workshop for $2,000. It's a much better leverage on your time, but it's still directly tied to your involvement.
Higher leverage. I like that. Okay, number three.
Number three is business income. Now we're talking about building systems. This is where you own a business, maybe a coffee shop, an e-commerce store, a software company, where you have people or software working for you. You're not just trading your own time anymore, you're building an asset. It's about creating a process that can run, at least in part, without you. This is the first real step toward decoupling your time from your earnings.
You're moving from being the worker to the owner of the system. Okay, this is where it gets exciting. What's number four?
Number four is the holy grail everyone talks about, passive income. This is where your money works for you. Think investments in stocks that pay dividends, owning a rental property that a management company runs for you, or earning royalties from a book you wrote or music you produced years ago. It's important to be clear, passive income is never 100% passive. It takes work to set up and maintain, but the key difference is it requires minimal ongoing effort to keep generating revenue.
Minimal effort is the key phrase there. It's never zero effort, but it's close. Okay, so we have active, semi-active, business, and passive. What's the fifth one?
The fifth and maybe the most powerful in the digital age is leveraged income. This is creating something once that can be sold an infinite number of times. Think digital products, online courses, software, or even content like a YouTube channel. You record a video once and it can be viewed by millions, generating ad revenue for years. You create a software application and it can be sold to a global customer base. The upfront effort is high, but the potential scale is almost unlimited because you're not constrained by time or physical location.
So just to recap, active, semi-active, business, passive, and leveraged. And the goal isn't to just jump straight to passive, right? It's to understand how these work together.
Precisely. And that brings us perfectly to the next idea, which we call the stacking strategy.
I love this concept, and I think people intellectually understand it, but the execution feels fuzzy. So explain the stacking strategy. Why is having just one of these streams, even a good active one, still so weak and fragile?
Because it's still just one. It's that single point of failure again. But the moment you add a second, completely different type of income stream, everything changes. The psychological pressure it starts to evaporate. It's like you've been walking a tightrope and someone just added a safety net underneath you. You walk differently. You're less afraid of falling.
It really does. Even if that second stream is just a few $100 a month, it's a game changer. Suddenly, you know that if you lost your main job, you wouldn't go to zero. You have a buffer. You have breathing room. Your confidence at your main job actually goes up because you're not operating from a place of fear. You can take more risks, suggest bolder ideas, and negotiate harder because you're not totally dependent on that single paycheck.
Then imagine adding a third. This is the magic stack for most people starting out. Let's paint a picture. You have your active income, your 9 to 5 job. That covers the bills. It's your foundation. Then you stack on a semi-active or leverage stream. This is your side hustle. Maybe you're a freelance writer or you sell digital templates on Etsy. This brings in an extra, say, $1,000 to $2,000 a month. This isn't just for bills anymore. This is for saving, for fun, for getting ahead.
Okay, so that's the second layer of the stack.
Then you create the third layer. You take the money from that side hustle and you automate it into passive income. You put it into low-cost index funds or a real estate investment trust every single month. Now you have your money making money.
And that's the stack. Job plus side hustle plus investing. Each one serves a different purpose. One is for survival, one is for growth, and one is for long-term freedom. You see how that structure is infinitely more powerful and stable than just having the job alone? That's the core of the stacking strategy. It's not just about making more money, it's about building a resilient financial life. You use the stability of your active income to fuel the growth of your semi-active or leveraged income, and then you use the profits from that to build your long-term wealth through passive income. Each layer supports and strengthens the others.
It's a total paradigm shift. You're not just earning anymore, you're building a financial fortress brick by brick. You're transitioning from a state of survival, just making it to the next paycheck. And it's worth lingering on that transition. Survival mode is living paycheck to paycheck, where one unexpected car repair bill can send you into a panic. It's a state of constant low-grade anxiety. But when you build that second stream, you enter stability. That's when you know your basic needs are covered, even with a setback. The anxiety lifts, and for the first time, you have the mental space to think beyond just next month.
To stability, where you feel secure and have options.
To eventually to freedom, where your systems and investments generate enough income to cover your lifestyle without you having to actively work. That's the ultimate goal.
Okay, so that sounds incredible in theory, but let's get super practical. Someone's listening to this right now on their commute, at the gym, and they're thinking, great, I'm sold on the why, but the how feels overwhelming. What are the best absolute beginner income streams, the real low-hanging fruit that people can start exploring this week?
Great question. We need simple entry points, on-ramps to this new way of thinking. And the number one place I tell everyone to start, the absolute fastest path from idea to cash, is freelance. Take a skill you already have, and I want to emphasize that you don't need to go get a new degree. A skill you use in your day job, a hobby you're good at. Writing, graphic design, video editing, social media management, project management, even just being incredibly organized, and sell it as a service.
Yeah, a skill you already use at your job, probably. You don't need to learn something brand new. If you're an accountant, you can offer freelance bookkeeping for small businesses. If you're in marketing, you can manage social media accounts. The key is to monetize what you already know. You can use platforms like Upwork or Fiverr to find your first clients, or just reach out to your personal and professional network. It's the fastest way to get a win and validate that you can make money on your own terms.
Exactly. A second great one is digital products. This is that leverage income we talked about. Think about packaging your knowledge or skill into a format that can be sold over and over again. Create a simple template in Canva, a detailed checklist for a complex process, budget spreadsheet in Google Sheets, or a guide that solves a very specific, painful problem. You build it once, put it on a site like Etsy or Gumroad, and it can sell for years with almost no additional effort per sale. And let's be really clear about what freelancing means. It's not some scary, abstract concept. If you're an accountant, it's offering basic bookkeeping services to small businesses on the side. If you're a teacher, it's offering tutoring services. If you work in marketing, it's managing the social media account for a local restaurant. It's simply taking the skills you already have and finding someone else who will pay you for them directly.
I love that one because it decouples your time from your income very early. Another is affiliate marketing. You don't even have to create a product. You just find products or services you already use and love, and you get a commission when someone buys through your unique link. You can build a small niche website, a social media account, or even just a newsletter where you share valuable content and recommend relevant products. It's a great way to dip your toes into online business without having to build a product from scratch.
And speaking of content, starting a YouTube channel or a TikTok account around the niche you're passionate about is huge. You can even do faceless content where you don't show your face. Just use stock footage and a voiceover. It takes time to build, but the upside is enormous.
For sure. And finally, let's not forget about the power of simple, tangible, service-based side hustles. In our digital world, we sometimes forget about the real world. Things like mobile car detailing, professional home or garage organization, handyman services, running errands for busy professionals. These aren't glamorous tech startups, but they are fantastic for generating immediate cash flow, which is the fuel for everything else we're talking about.
And that's a perfect segue, because the goal at the beginning shouldn't be to build some massive, complicated passive income machine. That's a mistake we'll talk about later. The initial goal is much simpler.
What is it?
It's figuring out the fastest path to your first $1,000.
Yes, this is so crucial. People get obsessed with passive income from day one, and they spend 6 months building a course that nobody buys, and then they quit.
Happens all the time. You must focus on cash flow first. Get money in the door. Prove to yourself that you can do it. The psychological win of earning that first dollar outside of your job it's immeasurable.
It totally is. And that means adopting a mindset of speed over perfection. Don't spend a month building the perfect website. Don't agonize over your logo. Just get an offer out there.
The formula is this simple. One skill, arrow, one offer, arrow, one platform.
Break that down.
Okay, pick one skill you're good at. Let's say writing. Create one simple offer around it. I will write 5 marketing emails for your business for $200. Then go to one platform where your potential clients hang out, maybe that's LinkedIn. And you just post there, you message people there, you focus all your energy there.
One skill, one offer, one platform. That's it. Don't try to be a writer and a designer and a consultant on Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn. That's a recipe for burnout and failure. Focus is your superpower at the beginning. Get that first $1,000 in the bank. Then and only then should you start thinking about the next step.
And the next step is taking that initial cash flow and scaling it. So let's say you've done it. You've got a freelancing side hustle bringing in 1 or 2 grand a month. How do you get to that next level, 5,000, 10,000 a month and beyond? And that focus is so critical. It's so easy to get distracted by what everyone else is doing. But in the beginning, the only thing that matters is getting that first bit of traction, that first client, that first sale. That's what builds the momentum you need to keep going.
This is where you start adding back in that idea of systems and automation we talked about. You can't just work more hours. You've already proven the concept. Now you need to build a machine around it.
So what does that look like practically?
First, you outsource the tasks that aren't your unique skill. If you're a great writer, you shouldn't be spending hours on invoicing or prospecting. Hire a virtual assistant for 5 or 10 hours a week to handle the administrative stuff. That frees you up to do more of the high-value work.
Right. Stop being the bottleneck in your own business. The next step is to turn your skills into products. You've been writing marketing emails one-on-one for clients. What are the patterns? What are the templates you use? Package them up. Create a startup email marketing kit and sell it for $49. That's leveraged income.
Productize your service. And then the ultimate form of leverage is to build an audience. As you're doing this work, share what you're learning on social media or a newsletter. Build a community of people who trust you. Once you have attention, you can monetize that attention in dozens of ways. Sponsorships, your own products, affiliate deals.
Audience is the new oil, as they say. So the path is clear. Start with a service to generate cash, then add systems to free up your time, then create products to scale beyond your time and build an audience to create long-term value. That's how you go from 1,000 to 10,000 a month.
It sounds so simple when we lay it out like that, but we both know people get it wrong a lot. Let's talk about the landmines. What are the biggest mistakes people make when they try to do this?
The list is long, but number one, without a doubt, is starting too many things at once. We just listed a dozen ideas. The mistake is trying to do 3 of them at the same time. You end up making an inch of progress in 5 directions instead of a mile in one direction.
It's the shiny object syndrome. You start a freelance thing, then you hear about drop shipping, then you pivot to that, then you hear about crypto, and 3 years later, you've made no real money in any of them. Pick one. Go all in.
The second biggest mistake is the one we touched on, chasing passive income too early. People want the result, money while they sleep, without doing the active work first. Passive income is the reward you get for first building a successful active income or business. It's the final step, not the first.
Yes, you have to earn the right to be passive. Okay, what else?
Lack of consistency. People get excited for 2 weeks. They post on LinkedIn every day, they send a bunch of emails, and then they don't get a client immediately and they just stop. You have to be willing to do the boring work for months even when you're not seeing results. That's what separates the winners from the quitters.
It's so true. And the last one I'll add is having no monetization strategy. People will start a blog or a podcast and just hope it magically makes money someday. You need to know how you're going to get paid. Are you selling a service, a product, affiliate links? Have a plan from day one, even if it changes later. Don't just build it and hope they come.
So, to recap the mistakes, don't do too much, don't chase passive income first, be consistent, and know how you're going to make money. Avoid those four and you're already ahead of 90% of people.
Okay, this has all been amazing, but I want to ground this in reality for a minute. Let's talk about a realistic timeline, because people might be listening and thinking they'll be a millionaire in 6 months. We need to set clear, achievable expectations.
Absolutely critical. So let's break it down. In your first 30 days, your only goal should be to get your first income stream started. Not perfected, not scaled, just started. That means defining your offer and putting it out into the world. That's it.
30 days to launch. I like that. What about after that?
Within 90 days, it is entirely possible to be making your first $500 to $2,000 a month. If you are consistent with a service-based business like freelancing, this is a very realistic target.
Okay, so first quarter, you could have a meaningful amount of extra money coming in. What about longer term, like a year?
Within 6 to 12 months, you can have that first stream stabilized and potentially have started your second one. Maybe taking that freelance money and starting to invest it or building your first small digital product. This is where you really start to feel the security of having multiple streams.
And the key thing to remember through all of this is the compounding effect. It's not just about the money. The skills you learn in your first 90 days make you better and faster. The reputation you build brings you referrals. The money you invest starts to grow on its own. It feels slow at first, but the momentum builds exponentially over time.
That's the magic. The first $1,000 is the hardest. The next $10,000 is easier than the first. You have to trust the process.
Okay, we've covered the why, the what, the how, the mistakes, and the timeline. As we wrap up, I want to make one final really important shift for our listeners. Gabriel, what's the one thing they need to take away from all of this?
It's this. You don't need more ideas. You don't need to listen to 10 more podcasts about this or watch 20 more YouTube videos. You have everything you need right now. The gap is not information. The gap is execution.
Oof, that's a powerful truth. So what is the call to action? What do we want them to do literally today?
Pick one income stream from the beginner list we mentioned earlier. Just one, not two, not three, one. And take the first, smallest possible step to start it. Today. That might be creating a profile on Upwork. It might be writing down a list of services you could offer. It might be buying a domain name. Just one small thing.
Build consistency over complexity. A simple plan you stick with for a year will beat a brilliant, complex plan you abandon after a week. Every single time.
Look, this isn't about getting rich quick. This is about taking back control. It's about building a life where you have options, where you're not dependent on any one person or company for your security. It's about building your own future.
You have the ability to do this. You just have to start. Thanks for tuning in to Future Forward.
Now go build something. We'll see you next time.